through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future, Transformers Slag Podcast.
The microphone is muted, and that's what happens when you hit the microphone on mute. How we all doing? That's what happens when you leave the microphone on mute. When you're not ready. How we all doing? To the Transformers Slag podcast. I have officially become a mime. I am stuck in a bubble. How about now? Could you hear me now? There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. I hit the self-destruct button indeed. I guess it is Saturday. I'm a little tired today. We're going to be talking the robots in the skies today. My name's Proto Man, if you are new to the madness. Thank you, Josh, for joining the Minicon recruits despite the mic problems. We're going to be talking Transformers today. We got some news. We're going to be covering some deep discussion on stuff going on in our Transformer world fiction-wise. We have quite a few things to talk about, really. Deep discussion in a lot of ways. I got something that I found in retail that I'm very happy about. Through all the madness of scalping, I managed to get my hands on something, which we'll talk about in a moment, too. And yeah, so let's get into it like we always do. First of all, who's in the chat? Who's in the chat today? Let's crank it up here. Got a lot of YouTube members today. We got Drew Hinton. We got Tom Laney, Rodimus Power, Patrick Brown. We got Joshua, who just joined us. We got Ashnud. What's up, Ashnud? We got James Hop. We got my sister is here, too. Geror 54. T-Formers 2002. What's up? The twins are here. Roman Schilling is here. Will Murphy. Brandon Miller. I hope I'm not missing anybody. So many popping in here. Fawn Heart's here. Got some of our Patreon people too, like Princeton Phalanx 59. Bigham is here. I want to make sure I'm not missing nobody. I think I saw Ninjatron before. Oh, Ninjatron left. Oh, well. Grant Brown. Horndow. If I'm not missing nobody. Everyone popped in a lot of stuff. El Kevo. Talib is here. Either way, we got a lot. ZM. JR Mina from the Philippines. So then, let's get into some Transformer news. Got some stuff to talk about. First, let's cover, of course, we talked about this last week. Transformers Swapticons. Looks like they're starting to hit retail, at least in Southeast Asia, specifically Indonesia. They have shown up. Wave 1 and I guess Wave 1.5 a little bit has showed up. What's up, Larry? And yeah, we're finally getting our Micromaster combiners, creating hundreds of combinations. It's the ultimate transformation. So we're kind of getting that in a spiritual successor kind of way through the Transformers Swapticons. Again, really nothing too complex, more just a way to celebrate the brand through all its 40 years, some G1, some G2, some Beast Wars, a little bit of Earthspark, a little bit with that Bumblebee in a lot of ways. You know, and of course, keeping those trademarks. I've always said that there's just certain lines of Transformers that while they do exist to sell product, they also just have that little backdoor purpose of also keeping a trademark alive. I feel that Creo was that. I feel that Robot Heroes was that. Tiny Titans, Tiny Turbo Changers, Bot Shots. Hey, we need to keep Metroplex alive. Put it on a bot shot, you know? Because we're not doing a big Metroplex toy in the next 4 years. So, you know, it was kind of one of those things. And, you know, they're probably going like, man, like, you know, we ain't doing nothing with this guy for a while. You know, like, when are we going to do another Tigertron figure? I don't know. So, hey, put it on a figure, you know, put it on a Swapticon. And so we talked about Wave 1. And now we finally get to see what the Wild Jungle Mission 5-pack is going to be. And if you saw my individual segment on it, a lot of love going on here. I almost 100% can guarantee, I do not know yet, but I'm pretty sure the box art was done by Marcelo. Because Marcelo did the original box art for the Robot Heroes back in 2007. Man, it's already been over 15 years. And it looks so much like Marcelo's art and his doing. Even these robot head art. I have to double check with him, but it looks a lot like that. But this is a Beast Wars love set. I love it. Again, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It doesn't have to be super nutty. It's just, hey, if you could give me an Ape-Link figure, if you could give me a Primal, a Scorponok, a Croc Megatron. Let me go grab. Last time we got a Croc Megatron, this guy right here, with all its super complicated transformation, of course, Actually, what's funny? There we go. That's the last time we got a Croc Megatron through the Classic Heroes collection. So that's very cool that we're getting another Croc Megatron after a good couple of years. And of course, based off of his original Beast Wars 1995 2-pack. So that's fantastic. Very happy about that. And hey, Ape-Link, homage to his old Bakon 2000 design. Primal is Season 1 Beast Wars. Scorponok is Season 1 Beast Wars. And Skullcruncher is using his animation model from the Japanese Headmasters anime with the red visor. So I really like what I see here. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this doesn't have to be something super complicated. We could exist in a world where we have super high fidelity, amazing, awesome Transformer product, be it the Star Convoy we're going to be getting through Age of the Primes and all the great stuff that we get through Masterpiece. And then we could find a spot where we could also put the low fidelity stuff, the stuff that doesn't have to be too complicated, doesn't have to be expensive. The 2-packs are going to be $10 a pop. So that's great entry level stuff for kids. Too many times I find, and this has always been a problem with the modern Transformer fandom is, they'll complain about how they don't like a certain product because it's not made for them. And then they'll complain how a certain show or toy line doesn't do well, even though it's amazing. If you don't sire a new audience, you don't have anyone there to go see the movies, watch the TV shows, or buy the products. The unfortunate truth is, as time progresses, we get older and priorities switch. When I was 20, had my first job, lived with my parents, had a roof over my head that was paid for, that fridge was always filled with something, I could be extremely irresponsible with my money. I could work a minimum wage job, a 40-hour shift, and 100% of that $500, yeah, it was really bad back then, but 100% of that $500 every 2 weeks could go 100% in Transformer toys guilt-free. As you get older, you get your own place, you live on your own, or you live with a significant other, or you have a family, you have responsibilities, and now the money that could go towards robots in disguise diminishes. But the whole point is that as we grow older, a new set of 20-somethings move in, and they do what I did 10, 15 years prior to that. But if you don't sire that new audience, those 20-somethings come into the market and they go, well, I grew up on Bionicles. I grew up on Beyblade. I grew up on Bakugan. I grew up on, Minecraft. I don't like Transformers because that didn't exist in my childhood. So you need to always sire that next demographic. And stuff like this, you might put your nose up at it. You might go, ew, it's not for me. That's fine. It doesn't have to be. I could understand if you were angry if this is all we got. If we only had Swapticons, then that would be fine. But you're getting Swapticons and a Titan class Star Convoy, Star Optimus Prime. We are eating good with Age of the Primes. We are eating good with the masterpieces. We are eating good with all this stuff. And it's crazy to see people that say that this stuff shouldn't even exist. I mean, first of all, from the business side of it, it needs to exist. So that's where you're fired right there if you would feel that that doesn't need to exist. But second of all, you have to understand you have to create that new market. You have to. I like to believe that Robot Heroes, when it debuted back in like 2009, 2010, did its job. and did its job well and created a whole new people. Kids who were like 4 or 5 years old back in 2010 that are now in their late teens or early 20s. It's wild to think about it, but it's something where hopefully they're Transformer fans now. And we didn't lose them to Pokemon. We didn't lose them to, some other flavor du jour, Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever was popular at the time with those kids, you know? T-Formers 2000 Missing Link on its own is good eating. Yeah, you know? What's up, Aaron? What's up? You did some good art recently. We're going to be talking about your stuff soon too. But yeah, I mean, I think this has its place. And again, imagine it's something that's aimed at a younger demographic. It's fidgety, it's simple, it's not too complicated, but it has all these deep cuts that are aimed at us. Look, someone like me who is in his 40s now who loved Beast Wars and bought that original 2-pack back in the day is able to enjoy this because, hey, there's Croc Megatron, there's Ape Link, from BotCon. Like, there's all this love here across, like, Skull Cruncher, 1987. Beast Wars Optimus Primal, Beast Wars Croc Megatron, 1995. Beast Wars Ape Optimus Primal and Scorponok, 1996. Ape Link, 2000. We cover already a span of a whole bunch of stuff just from that era there, all in one box set, but yet aimed at a younger demo. It's how it is, yo. It's how it is. You got to understand that, guys. Got to understand. And speaking about planning for the future, let's talk about the Nuremberg Toy Show and their planogram booth display they're going to be showing off the latest stuff that's going to be happening with Transformers. And once again, let this be a reflection of what Hasbro has planned. On the left, you got the stuff for the younger demo, which is the 4 kids, which is at the time it's going to be Earthspark, but that's on its way out. And on the right, for the hardcore fans and adults, you have the Age of the Prime stuff right there with Star Convoy holding the Zodiac, looking right at you with the original 13 behind him. So it's something where, and right in the middle is planning for the future of whatever that'll be, the next series, the next this, the next that. And that, of course, is Cyberworld, which will be our next Transformers series. Now, the big discussion, the big concern that people have is that this is going to be something that's going to be debuting on YouTube. And people are worried that that'll somehow hurt the brand or something. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think that YouTube is the future. And it's not just me saying it because I am a YouTube person and that all my material is on YouTube. I just firmly believe that that's where the eyeballs are here today. I would like to know how many people in this chat actually looked at a television screen today, unless it was, and you can't count your video game console. Like, you legitimately turned on the TV to watch TV, not a DVD, not turning on to play a video game. I'm saying turn it on and went to a channel and watched the show and went, surprise me. Surprise me, unscheduled television programming. Surprise me. Because the beauty with something like YouTube is you watch it at your own discretion. It'll get way more eyeballs because now you could watch it whenever you want and more people will have access to it. If you put it on Cartoon Network, what if you don't have Cartoon Network? What if you don't have a cable package that has Cartoon Network? What if you live in a country that doesn't have Cartoon Network at all, even if you wanted to buy a cable package? So it's something where by putting it on YouTube, Japanese people could watch it. People in India could watch it. Everyone could watch it. And if Hasbro's smart, which I'm going to 100% assume they are because they sponsor this channel, so I promote their channel. Look, and that's full, transparency here. Those channels are monetized. If they get over 1 million views an episode, that's more than enough money. They'll be just fine. They don't need to go to YTV or Cartoon Network or put it on Paramount Plus as an exclusive and gatekeep it behind a streaming service subscription fee. This is the much better way to go about it. More people will have access to it. And the domino effect of it, and this is very important, is people watch the product, they like what they see, and then the jerk reaction is, oh, I want to own that Megatron that turns into a bull. I want to own that that Beast Wars Megatron looking Grimlock there. I want to own that Optimus Prime that turns into an off-road vehicle. I want to own that. And if you time it properly with the drop of product, and granted, that's a lot more difficult in the Western market, but it is something where if that stuff is out there in Walmart, in Target, or literally 2 clicks away on Amazon, once again, isn't it great? You watch it on YouTube and then you're already on the exact same device, be it your phone or your computer, where you could then 2 clicks away order the same action figures off of Amazon or Walmart.com or whatever. Where if you're in front of a TV, not so much so. You watch the show and then it distracts you with the next show. Keep it rolling. So it's just how it is, man. You got to understand the evolution of the future, and I think it should all be there. I think it should all be on YouTube. I think it should just be that's just the future we're going with. And the whole thing with putting Earthspark exclusively on Paramount Plus, even though I like Paramount Plus, don't get me wrong, I think out of all the streaming services that you would have to pay for, I think Paramount Plus has the inventory that is the most appealing to me. But at the same time, why? There's so many people that will not have Paramount Plus, and then they won't be able to. I would love to take a survey and find out how many hardcore Transformer fans, new and old, actually have the Paramount Plus streaming service. I'm really curious of that. I do agree with you, ZM. The BMW front end with those grills. I worked on BMWs for like 18 years, and yeah, it's totally a BMW front grill, especially the older the 727s and 535 models from the 90s. Sidetrack there, but yeah, it's it is what it is. It is what it is. There's something where you have to kind of you got to kind of go with the flow of what's going on here. In the same way that for the longest time in the 80s, it was really important in the 80s that a toy line had a comic book. Think of every major 80s toy line that existed. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Mask, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Inhumanoids even. Let's go the weirder stuff. Inhumanoids, GoBots had a comic. What's another one? Let's go with another even deeper one. Sectars, they all had comic books because you had to have a comic book because that was a platform and a medium in order to get your material out there. People were reading comic books. Then when you got into the 90s, not so much now. The comic book, crash happened in around like 93, 94. And, Marvel was filing for bankruptcy by the time we got to 96, 97. So different way of telling your story. Now you had to have a cartoon. How many people here know X-Men more for the cartoons and the movies than they do for the actual comic books? Same thing. How many people don't even know, like they wouldn't even know who Thanos was if it wasn't for a movie? They never read a comic book, even though Thanos has been around for 50 plus years. Actually 16 at this point with Jim Starlin, you know, and Jack Kirby. But the point is that, you know, you have to understand that there's an evolution of platforms and how we advertise the product, because let's be real, at the end of the day, this is all advertising so that you go and buy toys and engage with that play of those toys. And if you don't have that in the proper platform that it is for the modern day, you're going to fall behind. You're going to be the guy who's making a brand new toy line today and going, I'm going to advertise it exclusively through a comic book, even though they have the opportunity to do a Netflix series or a YouTube series or something like that. There's very successful people in the world that created brands and have had them exclusively through streaming services. Red versus Blue, Ruby. There's a lot of stuff that they were pretty much just online only, and they found their market. They found their demographic. How many of us, like Hatsune Miku, stuff like that are these huge, huge properties and IPs, and they're really online properties and IPs. That's what they really are at the end of the day. El Kevo, no way. The late 80s, early 90s era of X-Men comics were peak. Yeah, they were fine. Don't get me wrong. Jim Lee stuff, especially with the reboot in 91, and everything. Not the reboot, but the rebranding of X-Men Standalone with Jim Lee. And of course, Uncanny keep going. No, don't get me wrong, those books are great, but you can't tell me that there was more people reading the comic books than there were actually watching the cartoons. There's a reason why there was a huge shift in the 90s for Marvel, and everything went to animation afterwards. That X-Men and Spider-Man cartoon right away put the whole platform for doing Silver Surfer, Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Incredible Hulk, and then of course the lesser enjoyed ones, Avengers, United They Stand, and I know I'm forgetting some of them, but some of the weaker ones in the 90s. Silver Surfer was good though. Uh, Spider-Man Unlimited was not that great. I know I'm forgetting a few others, but the point is that there's this thing where right now if you had a show and you had to put it on one platform, only one platform, I would put it on YouTube. You could be like, "Hey, I'm going to get like prime time spot on Cartoon Network." Hey, that's great. Whatever that prime time spot is on Cartoon Network, that's fantastic for you. But I'm going to tell you something. More people will watch it on YouTube. More people. When you have a single clip of a SpongeBob episode getting more views than entire shows because people will want to find that one clip on YouTube, that tells you something. Oh, here's a clip of a SpongeBob episode, 7.8 million views. Jeez. And then you like find the latest, numbers for a Netflix series or something on Cartoon Network, and they barely get like, a Nielsen rating of like, oh, it's a point 0.1, 0.04, which is like barely like, 10,000 people in all of the United States. I mean, come on. You got to be crazy with that. Roman Schilling, Proto Man, when does the trademark for Predaking expire, and how could we see a new Predaking combiner in the future? Let me turn my head a second. Just look at the stuff what we got here. We had a Predaking something recently. I know that for a fact. I forget what it was. They did something recent. Oh, geez, it's that high end one there we just got. That's what it was. I'm thinking of. It's done by some company that's going to be distributing it through Hasbro Pulse when it's all said and done. Forget what the name of it is. Unfortunately, that's kind of the case. You got that one there. Get a licensed company to do it. I always want to say third party, but third party has a different connotation with fans, even though it's technically true. It's a third party company, but it's a licensed company. We'll go with that. T-Formers 2002, Marvel movies being so popular in the mainstream that parts of the comics and cartoons have rebranded. Of course, Nick Fury's black now. That's probably the best example of that. Granted, he was black in the Ultimates book, and it's chicken before the egg. That's kind of how that happened with Nick Fury and Sam L. Jackson, but I hear you. Oh yeah, it's true. Predaking was also in the Rescue Bots line. They did that repaint of Heatwave. The Dragon Heatwave was repainted from into Predaking. That's true too. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they always find a place to put it somewhere. They always do. They go, "Uh-oh, we're not going to be doing a Huffer for the next couple of years. Quick, put him somewhere." They re-released the Titans, but not a re-release Predakings. Well, again, that Titan Predaking, at least in my personal experience, had quite a limited distribution. I did not see him at all in retail, but I did see him at GameStop, or what we called here at the time EB Games. Now it's GameStop everywhere else, but it is what it is. But yeah, again, Cyberworld. I'm looking forward to it again. At the end of the month is going to be the Nuremberg. Here, I'll pull up the slide for that. Is going to be the Nuremberg Toy Fair. We're going to be seeing the first wave of Cyberworld toys. We're going to see the first clips of the show. Hopefully, it's going to be exciting. I hope so. I hope so. I always, I don't expect to get Beast Wars, Beast Machine level writing at this point for Transformers. There's a time and a place for that stuff, and maybe we'll find that just more in the movies and everything, or whatever we'll have marching forward. Obviously, the comic books are a good example of that too. But you do have to sire a younger demographic, and because we don't live in a world where you have Transformers Prime happening at the same time as Rescue Bots, and you could have the kid show and the adult show at the same time, where you kind of have to have a fusion of the two. We don't have a Rescue Bots, so we kind of have something that'll just simple enough for a younger demo, but interesting enough that an older demo could appreciate it too. Obviously, Earthspark didn't stick the landing as they had hoped, so hopefully the next series will probably do better. From what it sounds like, and I'm glad Aaron's in the chat here, they said it's a combination of different Transformers from different worlds and lore. Sounds like a little bit of Universe 1.0 from 2003, taking Transformers from different timelines and fighting in different environments and regions. Again, we'll pull up the different environments and regions. And so we'll see how that works. Does that mean that that bull Megatron comes from an alternate timeline where Megatron was a bull, I guess? I don't know. But I am very curious to see what they do with that. I mean, maybe they'll be, it'll be more of a simplistic writing, but much like the Swapticons we just talked about, they'll put some deep cut characters in that'll make us appreciate that. Oh, here's Scrounge. Oh, look at Scrounge. We haven't seen him in years. Good old wheel transformer. So that's what I think more or less. Let me know what you think in the super chats below. That's more or less it for the news. I didn't want to go too big on a rant on that, but we'll talk about some cool stuff we got this week. We did some retail shopping and found something cool. But let's first do some sponsor stuff. Actually, was contacted by a video game company. I can't say who just yet that wants to do some sponsorship. We've been doing some back and forth discussion, but stay tuned for that. So first, Symbiote Studios rocking the Grimlock shirt today, plush pins and t-shirts. Check them out, of course. Great stuff coming in 2025, as well as a brand new San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that just got off the assembly line from the factories, so it's looking good, that one too. Stay tuned for that. Of course, whole bunch of stuff coming for Wave 10 in 2025, so be sure to check all of that out with Symbiote Studios. Again, guys, go on their website, pick it up while you can, because when stuff sells out, it's very rare that it comes back. Some stuff gets rebranded or redone, but in general, stuff usually sells out. Of course, they have all their other stuff that they're planning for 2025, a lot of other video game stuff, Shovel Knight, Power Rangers, Super Monkey Ball, and of course, their giant My Little Pony Wave 1 2025 collection. That most of that, I believe, is up live right now as we speak. I think it went live last week. So check that out too if you're into My Little Pony. I know we have quite a few bronies here in the crowd, and even my Patreon too, my Patreon Discord and stuff. So check that out, yo. And of course, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. We just dropped on Monday a brand new segment. Go check that one out, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. We deep dive into more Energon stuff, and two of them that have a very important significance in ways you can't even imagine for the longevity of the brand on the Hasbro side, in that of the Energon Kicker High Wire and the Alpha Quintesson figure. Here's some funny stories and learn how these two guys were very crucial into how the movies ended up getting all their product later on. I won't spoil it, but it's a really good segment. Go check it out, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer, and learn all that. We have there was some background sketches and design sketches on how these characters were created and everything like that. And also, kind of some good timing too, because if you listen to that episode, you could also go on archermonster.com/shop and pick up a Posca painting of a Kicker on his original instructions. These are some of the brand new ones that Aaron put on his website today, archermonster.com/shop. So go pick those up. Hopefully the Kicker is still there by the time you see this. I have notoriously been making these slides, and then an hour later they get sold out. So completely dating these slides and making them pointless. But it is what it is. Also, again, go on archermonster.com and pick up The Art of Transforming Robots Volume 3, 36 full color pages of beautiful Transformer goodness. Aaron will be at TFCon Los Angeles, March 7th to the 9th, 2025. So if you don't pick it up on the website, you could also pick it up in person if he doesn't forget it at home. Right, Aaron? Right? Pick it up from his booth, of course. I'll be there with him too. We'll be hanging out and just shaking hands with the fans and doing all kinds of cool stuff. And of course, also, Aaron will have some high-level museum paintings present, as well as some on his website right now, so pick those up while you can. Clark Kent Proto cover Energon, Omega, and the Combiners. Oh, don't worry, don't worry. There. Let me tell you something. As much as Energon as like a series wasn't like well received, although it had its moments. I like Kicker as a character. I'm one of the few people that really, as a toy line, what a great toy line. I still to this day I say it's the prototype to what is classics. Like so many of these figures, and I'm going like this because I have my entire Energon collection. This is all the Unicron trilogy. And you get to see there's Bomberman and there's Kami and there's all kinds of other weird stuff on my desk. Um, I love Energon. I absolutely love it. All of these, like that Sharkticon could have been, a classics figure. That Starscream could have been a classics figure. That Rodimus could have been a classic. That Omega Supreme could have been a classics figure. You know, so it's something where, to me, I love those figures, and there's so much great stories that can be told with them. Eric Siebeneller designs, Aaron Archer designs. I'm pretty sure Joe Kide probably had to do with some of the recolors at that time. So a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of really cool stuff. And I mean, I still to this day, every Transformer collector should probably own Energon Sharkticon. That's like a top 10 early 2000s Transformer toy. Like that is like one of the best deluxes you could have bought back then. Like all the little articulated cannons. I'd love to talk about him one day even. But yeah, great stuff, great stuff. Check that out again, archermonster.com/shop. Get some Posca paintings. It's all there. It's all good. It's all tasty. Clark Clint Gaming, Energon was arguably my favorite line from the Unicron trilogy. Definitely had a lot of great designs, my man. And then, of course, Bin Studios. If you have a HasLab Unicron and you want to have two HasLab Unicrons, why don't you get their 2-in-1 kit? And their 2-in-1 kit gives you options. Do you want to have your HasLab Unicron in robot mode and get some extra wings so you could have them in both modes? Or do you want to get your HasLab Unicron and get an extra set of rings instead of the wings and have that in both modes with the upgrade kit and everything? Check it out, binstudios.iwarp.com for more information. There's a video on how to install it, where to buy it if you want to buy it on Etsy or eBay, as well as much more information. These are beautiful sets. I have one myself. Actually, I'd show it to you, but they're so big that wouldn't fit on the screen. But they're awesome stuff. And if you bought one Unicron, you want to have both of them in display. Because I mean, you want to have the big guy and you want to have the planet mode. Check it out. binstudios.com/iwarp. Excuse me, binstudios.iwarp.com. Go check that out. Good stuff there too. And thank you everyone for sponsoring this podcast segment. So then, we'll open it up to some super chats. We have already a few questions coming in. We'll open it up to some super chats. In the meantime, let's grab some of the cool stuff we got this week. Not much. So I'll let the questions roll in. We'll do this. So one of my Walmarts off the island of Montreal apparently was having like crazy post Christmas liquidation. Like their toy section is a lot smaller than most Walmarts, so they really just wanted to get rid of their inventory. And one of my friends was like, "You got to get down there. Like they're getting rid of a lot of crap, and like because they have like these like I don't know, like they're like rolling trolleys just filled with liquidation stuff." So I was like, "Okay." And so I went down with the lovely lady, and she spent more than me because there wasn't really much for Transformer stuff there. But I did buy one thing, which made me happy. So what did she get? She hasn't opened these yet. She got a Playmobil Naruto. She loves Lego and she loves Playmobil. So she got the Naruto one. She was gonna buy these a while back, but she didn't. I think they were like full price, like $10, $2. So again, if you're in the Montreal area and you want to go to the Saint Anne de Bellevue Walmart, all of these are $2 a piece now, Canadian, which American is like 50 cents. I don't know. It's cheap now. So she picked up that one, so that's pretty cool. Ugh. And then she picked up this one. She's been trying to get this. She loves owning figures of characters that she cosplays. And so she cosplayed like Chun-Li one year, and now she wants to own every cool Chun-Li figure ever made. So she managed to get the Jada one here. I believe this is wave one. I'm not too sure because all I saw it was on the peg with Dulcim, Ryu, and Fei Lung. I'm not too up to date on Jada's figures of the Street Fighter stuff because I just kind of got like the Sota versions a long time ago, and kind of just been rocking those, you know. So she picked this up too, so she was happy with that. But what did I get? I got something at full price, but it was more so because I was shocked to even see it at all. I have been hunting forever for this damn thing. I saw one. It was literally sitting on the peg, just there in the front. I didn't have to dig for it. It was sitting on there in the peg. Nobody touched it. I finally got a Hot Wheels Bumblebee. It's the gold colored one. It's not the matte colored one, but I finally found one. Oh my God. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God. You know? And it's actually not bad. Like it's not too damaged the card back, but $1.97. Yay. Finally got one. What fluke. So now I need to find the matte yellow one, the Optimus Prime big rig one, or not big rig, Track Fleet Optimus Prime, the small Optimus Prime, the Ultra Magnus, and then all of those movie ones too. It's been so tough to find these. It's been ridiculous, but I finally found one. It was so I remember when we left the Walmart, obviously she obviously spent way more than I did. But when we left the Walmart, I'm like, you spent more, but this $1.95 more people will appreciate because the scalping that has been going on. I have been looking at Facebook Marketplace and seeing all the local Montreal Hot Wheels collectors just buying these all up and selling them for $10, $15 when this is like $2 at best after tax. It was ridiculous. So I am so happy. And again, it was just like sitting there. And what's great too for to let people know how to look for them. So it would just you just have to look at the top of the peg and look for Transformers. Like if like it was covered like this, like you have all of them on the peg there, just look for that. Just look for Transformers. And if you can't see it, then look for here, HW screen time. That's the two ways if you kind of like if you're like sometimes Hot Wheels, their pegs are like, there's thousands of them and to have to go through all of them. So just thank God. But the hunt continues. The hunt continues, to say the least. The hunt continues, to say the least. It's still a bit of a digging, still a lot more to go because there's still all the others that I haven't found yet, but the hunt continues. The last thing we picked up, obviously, we did our food shopping and everything. It's I think what are we a week away or something from Chinese New Year? She's Asian, so they have to celebrate their Chinese New Year. So we went to buy some Chinese New Year stuff. We went to one of our Asian supermarkets, and I saw this because they always get like special, like China mainland exclusive items for Chinese New Year. Get a load of this, okay? So this is a Pokemon milk peach collection. Like you buy it like this, you get a whole bunch of them. Whole bunch of these. I'll open one up and show you guys. But it's a milk drink with like peaches inside and everything. And what's hilarious too, it's like this. Let me just take off the. And again, it's China, so the straws are actually plastic, unlike us here. Not to be sold outside of mainland China, so it's illegal. Ooh. But they get all kinds of exclusive stuff at these Asian supermarkets. So I bought a case of it. And let me tell you something. It tastes delicious, actually. It's actually quite good. I'm going to be enjoying one right now. It's like it's milk with peaches and orange. It has little peach pieces in there. Really good. And it's Charmander. So if you're a Pokemon person, you can appreciate that too. But yeah. Yeah. And the cool thing with the Bumblebee, has his face on it right there at the bottom, the chrome face. So that's a nice little touch too. That's great. Super happy about that one. But yeah. Let's look at some super chats. Thoughts on what the HasLab will be. There's what I would like it to be, because in my opinion, I don't think an educated answer when it comes to HasLabs anymore. There used to be an educated answer. We used to it tastes like Charmander. Actually, it would have been good if it was like spicy or hot or something. Good though. Did I take a picture of it with my phone? Hold on. I could show you what the other ones look like. One moment. One moment. Did I take? Yeah, I did. Here, let me show you guys. So I don't know if we're gonna get the glare there. So there's the display. So they have Psyduck, they have Jigglypuff, they have Bulbasaur, and they have Squirtle. Kind of hard to see. I took a really bad photo. I apologize for that. There's the Psyduck one. And then there's the Jigglypuff and the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur. And they come in these giant cases. Like you have to get like I think it's like a case of 10 of them. But I mean it was like $10 Canadian. And they're actually pretty good. So but getting back to the question from Princeton Phalanx 59, I think that before we kind of could have like a bit of an educated guess, like Evan would say something or Nate would say something, and you could kind of figure it out. But I mean, Nate says, "Oh, you guys will be supremely excited," and then people go, "Oh my God, it's going to be Omega Supreme," But at the end of the day, it could be anything. I mean, if I had a choice of what it could be, and I don't think it'll be that, but I would like it if it was that. I'd like it if it was Primus. I would like to have a companion piece to the Unicron. I mean, if Primus, like, look, take if Unicron. Well, how much was Unicron? 579.99. What was Unicron's MSRP? He was no, not MSRP, but what was his cost? What was he? 500 something. You know, take Unicron's price. You don't need the rings because it's Primus now. You don't need to have all the extra little things, the little slugs, the little ships, all the little changeable faces and everything like that. You don't need to have all that extra stuff. Keep it bare minimum. Make it Planet Cybertron and just make it look good. 575. Thank you, T-Formers. You know, just do that. Keep it simple. And then if that could bring it down to like 500, and do Primus, Planet Cybertron, and because it'll be the 40th anniversary for Japan right now in 2025, that's how I would like it. That's how I would like it. See, Primus was a Supreme class with the original Cybertron Galaxy Force toy line, but I don't think Nate knows that. No offense to Nate. I don't think he's that, like deep cut. He's not going to be like, well, because Primus was a Supreme class, 20 years ago, I'm going to make the 21 years ago, or not 21, 25, 19 years ago. When did that one come out? 2006, 2007? No, 2006 it came out. So yeah, 19 years ago. I mean, it'd be cool, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I think that they're going to go for something more modest, something that's, like what now that we've seen like the Star Saber, the think like what are now Titan classes with Star Convoy, Star Optimus. Look at the Star Saber, look at the Deathsaurus, look at what they did with the Omega Prime, which really is two leaders that kind of make a Titan class, modern Titan class product. And I think we're kind of in that world now. I think we're kind of just like, hey, we're going to do a more upper tier item with some extra bells and whistles, and that'll be that. Some people are saying Lio Kaiser. Some people are saying, like, let's say Gigatron to be a companion piece to our Omega Prime. Much like we got Star Saber, now we have Deathsaurus, so we'll have a Gigatron to that. But even a Gigatron, like, can't you just do that as a commander class? I mean, if we were able to do, Magmatron, unless commander classes now are becoming like the new leader, you know? Have we fallen that much in budget and what could be done? I don't know. So yeah, some other people are saying, like Mike says here, it's going to be RID Megatron. Yeah, which is Gigatron, in Japan for car robots. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, you're basing that again. That's your educated guess based on like, oh, okay, well, if we got, you know, Star Saber, we're gonna get Desaurus. So if we got Omega Prime, we got to get, Gigatron. Well, if we got Unicron, we got to get Primus. No, I don't know. Yeah, see, and that's the problem is that like if we did get Gigatron, right? He better not be like $175. Gigatron is not $175. The original Gigatron toy, or Devil Gigatron, or Megatron, or Galvatron, whatever you want to call him. When it was this big, with tons of parts and pieces and chrome ears and all that stuff, he was a $29.99 product. Even if you blew that up back then to like a $70 item, an $80 item, which didn't exist back then because we were still like 2 years off from 20th anniversary Masterpiece Optimus Prime making his debut. Even then, like that's still not like the 175 they're going to charge. And then they're going to be like, well, you're going to get a Koji figure and you're going to get, a little Skybite, jumping fish figure or something. Like they're going to try to figure out a way to milk it somehow. Or like you get Gigatron and the three beasts, Gusha, Gasha, and whatever his other Japanese name was, or Night Scream and whatever the dub names were, Gas Skunk. But yeah, that's good. That's really good. Um, El Kevo would be great if it was Dark Nova. Super deep cut, but it'd be cool. Um, if Dark Nova does his like transformation into his like robot mode that we never got to see outside of a super tiny panel, you know. But again, to me, it's like before you could kind of like apply a logic to HasLab, but the moment we got Star Convoy, and it's like here's what our new Titan classes are, it kind of threw everything out the window, in my opinion. Slapper, Gas Skunk, and Dark Scream. There you go. I watched it in Japanese originally back in the day, so I didn't really watch the dub. Not to mention, I think, because of 9/11, it kind of made it a little difficult to watch the dub. A lot of episodes got cut out, at least in the initial run. But yeah, what did Aaron say? What did Aaron say? Did I miss something Aaron said? Jigglypuff tastes like Kirby. Well, Jigglypuff is pretty much Kirby with some extra lines and a microphone. Um, all the Pokemons have individual flavors. I just don't remember what they were. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. We will see. Let me just throw this out. Ugh. Plastic. We will see what happens. We're gonna find out soon enough. That's gonna be at the which convention is that? That's the one the MegaCon. We're gonna find out that one soon enough. That'll be the big reveal. So hopefully it'll be awesome. Hopefully it'll be awesome. Hopefully it'll be worth it. Fawnheart says animated Omega Supreme. I would like that, but the question is, okay, so you're doing an ARC ship. Is it going to be like a Titan class like we have Titans today that are $200? Are they going to do something that's really crazy tooled? I mean, I'd be down for that to get some new animated material. And Omega Supreme is one of those like characters that people would have loved to have back then, even though that price point didn't really exist. The highest we had at that time was Supreme class, and we just had that Roll Command Optimus Prime figure. That was the biggest animated toy up to that point. Mike Prime 21 Proto. How would a Amazon exclusive Headmasters line do? Most of those trademarks are coming up. The retros were in 21. Do 4 or 5, 2-packs. Maybe update the molds. Well, I mean, the Brainstorm is always the toughest one because you could throw a chrome dome, you could throw a hard head, you could throw a highbrow on some of those other ones. I mean, you just mentioned Headmasters, right? Well, what did I just tell you? Just came out just recently. So they're going to figure out ways to throw these guys in other places that we might maybe not favor. But look, there's Skull Cruncher. So the crazy thing with this line is it's so easy just to paint a new noggin on these. Super easy. Because there's no head sculpts that these are dedicated to. They're all cylinders. And then you just paint on whatever character you want and you're just dictated by the alt mode. So if you have some generic vehicles, like you take like the Hot Rod or you take the Bumblebee, and there you go. There's your Chrome Dome. Just do the front end of the Bumblebee and call it Chrome Dome. And then you go, okay, well, now for Brainstorm, we need some kind of generic jet. Well, we have a Starscream and a Thundercracker that are coming. There you go. Oh, but then we got, a hard head, so we need some kind of tank looking thing. Well, we got two tank looking things with Megatron and Shockwave, and I could go on and on. Helicopter. Yeah, we don't have a mold yet for a helicopter yet for highbrow, but I'm sure something will come for sure. T-Formers 2002. I would have taken a Supreme class animated Omega. Animated didn't exactly have the best scale. Um, I don't know. Animated was not bad. Yeah, again, I'm always turning my head here. All my animated stuff's on the bottom. Animated had a pretty decent scale. I have to say the only figure that really kind of was like a weird scale was Lugnut. I think Lugnut could have been better. And Bumblebee, I guess, because we never really got the good Bumblebee figure, the Hydro Dive in the West. We only got that weird deluxe in the East Coast. Excuse me, in the West Coast. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I feel that I always felt that Animated's toy line was too short. I think they could have gone on longer, but the success of those movies led to Transformers Prime kind of taking its spot. Mike Prime 21, the Skull Cruncher is why I asked, because of them getting his name, not immediately, but down the road. Well, I mean, I think sooner or later they're going to revisit those headmasters again. A lot of times, you have those characters, and you see it even like during the Aaron Archer era, like in the early days of classics and stuff. They'll be like, we got to do something with Hardhead. We're not going to do a headmaster just yet, but here's a repaint of Universe 2.0 Onslaught. Oh, hey, highbrow. We're going to use it on. Let me grab this guy here. We're going to use it on this biplane jet. Love this figure, by the way. Yeah, if you could get it cheap, but it's something where you know they'll always like figure out a way to somehow put it somewhere in the meantime, the buy time. Uh, I mean, the first time we got a true headmaster in the modern era was Brainstorm. Brainstorm had a Voyager class figure that was, they only did that one figure as a Voyager class, and then they revisited them all again when they did the Titans Return line a couple years after that. So very, very cool. Where are we at? Where are we at? Someone looking at my Bomberman figure on there, my red bomber, red gold bomber. I love Bomberman. Red gold bomber. Love him. Um, Tom Laney. Yeah, they did that in the Universe Onslaught with sounds and lights. Exactly. Repainted in the hardhead. Current non-spoiler thoughts on Dragon Ball Daima. Um, let's see. I like the fights. Choreography of the fights are really good. Retconning of some of the lore, I'm not too much of a fan of. And I really would like to know how much of Akira Toriyama's input was in the story as opposed to what is new ideas. The problem with Dragon Ball, it's the first ever anime, and there's probably other exceptions to the rule because of some really old brands, like maybe something like Astro Boy or Cyborg 009. But I know, oh God, Mr. Tankies, did you just drop another 50? Thank you, Mr. Tankies, for being an awesome guy. A whole bunch of people are going to be happy. And Ninjatron isn't in the chat and he's not going to get it. TFG1 Mike got one. Fantastic. TFG1 Mike. What's up, G? And Hasbro people got it. I'm not going to say who, so I don't want people bugging him. That's hilarious. That's going to go on for a bit. But getting back to your question, sorry about that. But so yeah, like the one problem that I have, unfortunately, when it comes to Dragon Ball Daima is it's one of the few examples of a brand that has gone on for so long that it's gotten to the point that now we have other people coming in and dictating its storytelling. and changing stuff and retconning stuff. Something us as Westerners we're used to all the time. Batman's origins has been changed, and Superman's, and X-Men and everything. People come in and have their own interpretations and stuff, and you know it's we it's not like here. It's like, oh, Stanley and Jack Kirby, they did the Fantastic Four. So no one is allowed to touch it afterwards if those two people aren't with us anymore. Japan is like that. A lot of times, certain brands and certain properties, when the creator passes away or dies, they kind of leave it alone. Yeah, they might do an anime remake, but the anime remake will still be in the essence and true to that source material. And there's not really new stuff. It's just remaking the old stuff. With the exceptions, of course, with like an Astro Boy, a Cyborg 009, stuff that's like that almost like predates most of us in this chat, from like the 1940s and 50s, really old anime, black and white anime, which is Astro Boy and Cyborg 009, two of the very first anime that ever were on television in Japan. So it's kind of one of those things where Dragon Ball is going to keep going long after Akira has passed away. But what are they going to do to keep being able to sell action figures and merchandise and how many times can we change Goku's hair color and then sell action figures of all those different hair colors and oh, now it's God, now it's God Blue, now it's Rose, now it's Ultra Instinct. So I'm looking at Daima and I'm kind of seeing the same thing where it's like there's great ideas, but there also is a lot of stuff where it's like, ooh, they're kind of retconning stuff that Akira wrote in the past. And there's been retcons in Dragon Ball before. I mean, let's be real, there's been a lot of retcons in Dragon Ball before, but they were always under Akira's watch. So it's something where at least I always felt like, well, it was his decision. And now we're going to be getting used to an era where things are going to be changed and he's not going to be the one making those decisions because he's no longer with us. Rest in peace, Toriyama-san. But it's something where we'll see. We'll see. We will see. I always say that we will see, but it's that's the vibe I get with Daima. There's a lot of great choreography. It's a modern Dragon Ball anime, but at the same time, there's some stuff that's like, and I don't want to say what those things are because I don't know how far people have watched, but you'll see. You'll see if you go back. It's out there to watch if you use the right sources. If you know what I mean. Um, where are we at? Where are we at here? Never a bride. I don't even know how they decide that. It's funny how many people like who really want the membership and they don't get it. I don't know how they decide that, Mr. Tankies. But again, thank you for the super chats and the YouTube members. Excuse me. But yeah, Craft collects. We have hope. Akira wrote the whole story before passing. Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is that I don't know. It's kind of like when Dragon Ball GT ended all those years ago, back in like 1998. We only found out after the fact how much involved he was with it. He was actually quite involved with the story and stuff. He wasn't writing it, obviously, because it wasn't a manga; it was a TV series. But he was in charge of the development, so he had a lot to do with those stories. And same thing, Dragon Ball Super. He had a lot to do with those early stories and stuff. But then, they start coming in and then they start changing Bardock's origin story and they change, how we're going to look at Broly because now there's a movie version as opposed to a TV show version. So, you know. Here Aaron's opinion on this. Let's hear it. Let's warm the fire of Aaron's heat. Corporation storytelling can get into weird places. Star Wars, Superman, Star Trek, Wizard of Oz. Authorless stories. Dragon Ball is newest, sadly. Yeah, and that's why everything that you mentioned, Aaron, is all stuff that, with the exception of Star Wars, Star Wars is late 70s, but Superman, 1938. Star Trek, early late 70s, late 60s, early 70s. Wizard of Oz, we're gonna go all the way back to the book, which I mean, the book is completely different from the movie. Look up how the Tin Man actually got his limbs. It's quite gruesome, and how he became the Tin Man. I read the original book in college. That was actually I had a really good class that I had that taught. It was a class that was about comparing uh books to their movie counterparts and how different they were. She was a fun teacher too. I liked her. And it was Wizard of Oz, The Outsiders. What was another one? There was another movie. Fahrenheit 411, 511, 411. Keep. I apologize. It's been like 30 years, almost not 30 years, 20 years since I've been in college, but it was an interesting class. I liked it. A lot of good stuff. But the Outsiders one, that was a good book. I never read that book prior to doing that class. That was a good book. El Kevo, I got passed over so many times, then got membership the very next week after checking the button. It happens. It happens, my friends. It happens. Tom Laney, so collecting books for loose toys. So what collecting book for loose toys would you recommend? Not just G1, but what book does a good job? Are you talking Transformers to collect the figures? I always suggest the Generations Guidebook. That'll always be like my go-to for if you're collecting G1. When you go outside of that, the best books for those, and they're a little out of print, but Doug Dillon back in the day with Antarctic Press did a book called the Cybertronia Guides, and he did G1, G2, Beast Wars, another really good book. Kind of harder to get because they're out of print. Do I have any of them here? I think there might be in the comic book room. One moment. Oh, Doug, I don't have any of your books on my shelf here. They might be in the comic room. They're really good, though. They're really good, but they're a little tougher to get, so that's why I don't usually suggest them. They're not like an Amazon click away. Fahrenheit 451. Thank you, Titus. I apologize for that. But yeah, that's a really good one. If you're collecting G1 and you have a little extra cash to get the best of the best books, the Cybertronia guides, which were done by Antarctic Press, Doug Dillon, who was quite a staple of the Transformer fandom back in the day. Not so active now, but great guy, great dude. He did that one. And he did, I believe, up until Beast Wars Beast Machines, and then he stopped doing those books. So you got a good cover there. But a more mainstream ones, Cybertronia. Let me grab it. Let me grab a few of them here. This is the reprint. I have like all three versions here I could show you. And I could show you the RID one. Let's do it all. Let's do it all. So this was the first print. And just to show you how important this book was, look how beat up it is. See this cover here? I would love to replace this because even Proto Man used this book like crazy. So this was the first print. Then they did a second print, which was the deluxe edition, which just pretty much has more extras of the behind the scenes stuff. And then they recently did, this is the third printing. And the third printing is exactly the same like the deluxe one. Ignore the Obi here. The Obi is just the wrap around. Let me take that off so it doesn't confuse you. So, and this is the third printing, which they did recently. I forget when they did this. Well, judging by the fact who's on the cover here, judging by the fact that there's some Rise of the Beast stuff on the OB 2023, that should give you an idea. But so this is the third printing, and the third printing didn't really have anything new in it. So, but the difference with the third printing is the paper quality is a little less. It's more like newsprinty, where the second printing, it's still high gloss. So if you're kind of curious between. So I would get if you want to be a purist, second printing, deluxe, first print of the deluxe edition. Avoid the original because it's missing some stuff. So I hope that answers that for G1 and G1, G2, and Machine Wars. And then you get their sequel book. Oh, the Obi ran high there. One moment. And then you get their sequel book, which is their Beast Wars book. It has Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and Robots in Disguise. Even has some prototype stuff in there. Great book. Also, let's go to an Aaron Archer design. I just saw the Red Dragon. Give me the Red Dragon. Give me the Red Dragon. I just saw it. There we go. Bada boom. There he is. So those are the best ones. Please say the names of the G1 one again. Transformer Generations Deluxe. Generations Guidebook. This is the third printing. Third printing, Has everything you need, but has more of a newsprinty kind of feel to the pages. Second printing, probably the best version, has the gloss pages. First printing doesn't say deluxe on the front, missing some stuff in the back of extras behind the scenes. Hope that helps. This has only one printing. I think it's still on Amazon.jp. You could pick it up right now. Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Beast Wars Neo, Beast Wars Second, and Car Robots, Robots in Disguise, and even show Animorphs. They even have Animorph stuff. So everything from that late Kenner and early Hasbro era before going into the Unicron trilogy. And hopefully one day they'll make a Unicron trilogy book too. Hopefully. And also, might as well just top it off. They also did, this one's a little more expensive. They did a Machine Robo GoBots one too. So if you also want GoBots, the same creators of those books did a GoBots one. So if you want GoBots and Machine Robo, you know, all those lovely designs. And what's cool with this one came with a DVD with a whole bunch of commercials from the original show. So that's another good one too. And this one's called Machine Robo Wedge. That's an expensive one though. And you have a free download for it if you come on the Transformers Slag podcast Patreon, because we have it as a free download for you guys. Because that book's long out of print. Was looking at the J. Alvarez books are missing way too much. Don't pick up those ones. They're missing a ton of stuff on the Pretenders. They're missing a ton. I have like a. Let me grab. Where is it? It's all the way at the bottom here. I have them. I have that book. The unofficial guide to Transformers. I don't want to reach for it, but it's like it's missing Pretender Shell stuff, a lot of Micromaster stuff. That one's not complete. I wouldn't get those ones. I would not. There's another one too by Jay Bellum or whatever. That one's not too bad. Where is that one? I have that one somewhere here. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Mark Bell. So he does a bunch of different ones. This is the pocket one, which is like a encyclopedia. He does a whole bunch of them. His are pretty good too. Value and identification. I get all of these, even though I don't need them. I mean, we have the internet, but I get them because I like collecting them. I love collecting Transformers. His is more like this one's more of a picture book, shows everything. But he did do an extensive one. I want to say 2-3 years ago. And actually, no, Big V made me lose my timeline here. About 4 or 5 years ago, he did a pretty good one. So, but this one here, look for the name. If you're looking for an English one, Mark. Come on, focus with me, people. There we go. Jesus, really bad. Come on. Mark Bellomo. Mark Bellomo. He did a few different books and they're all pretty good. The J. Alvarez ones, they're missing stuff, so I can't recommend those, unfortunately. I cannot. Mr. Tanky's T2 Megatron is probably my favorite alt mode. Well, it's the Dragon alt mode. It's the amazing Dragon alt mode, which goes against everything that went on in Beast Wars. What did Megatron scan? Well, actually, it was G1 Megatron's tainted spark that made him a dragon. But it's funny. Forget who it was. There was They're saying like there's a you look at how T-Rexes are supposed to look today, where they have like feathers and everything on their short arms and stuff, and people are going, maybe some T-Rexes survived and people saw them and thought they were dragons. Pretty cool. So when you think about Beast Wars Megatron, he was a T-Rex. Interpretation of what a dragon is. He went from being a T-Rex, how we thought they looked like, to a T-Rex of how they actually look like, if they were designed by Aaron Archer. Pretty much. So, yeah, those books look pristine. Yeah, well, guilty of that because I buy them just to have them. I don't. I told you. The, the only book that's really beat up is the very first one because I actually used it back in the day. Look at this too. I bought it back in the day. $31.95 Canadian, so probably like 20 bucks American back then. And I actually look at this. Look, it's all dog-eared here. I used this like crazy. Oh, which figure I'm missing? Oh, gotta get me a blue Bacchus, or a Black Shadow or a Leo Kaiser and all the pieces and parts and everything. But yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Twins Corner, remind me again, will we be getting all 13 primes this year, or there will be spread out over the next 3 years of trilogy? Judging by from what we saw from the early listings that were leaked out, I think we're getting most of them. Supposedly, we're getting a reissue of Vector Prime for Vector Prime. We don't have any signs yet of how if Nexus is going to be part of it. I think, like, in all honesty, judging by the list that we saw, we're getting about 9 of the 13, if you count Star Convoy as the 13. So we're getting about 9 of them, and then I think the year after we're going to get the rest of them. Like, everything's going to be done within like the next, like, let's say 18 month. That's what I think. And I'm just basing it off of early listings that we've seen online. You know. Ooh, these books are heavy. Gotta put these down. Ugh, a lot of heavy books. Ugh, a lot of heavy books. But I hope that helps. I mean, I have a wall of books. Like, there's so many great stuff, so many great books throughout the years. But like, in terms of like guides, I would go with, again, Doug's book. If you have like endless money and you could track down Doug's Cybertronia books, those are really good. I wish I had that on hand to show you. Do I not have it on the shelf? Because that's something that's thicker, so that wouldn't be in my comic long boxes. I must have it. One moment, guys. Do you mind? I'm just gonna take a look. Oh, that's Azusa's stuff. Aha! I knew it. We do have some of them. Here we go. Cybertronia, Unofficial Recognition Guidebook, Volume 1. They come in multiple separate volumes. That's why you have to track them down. And look, this is how good they are. So let's start from the beginning. You'll have the figure, you'll have the parts laid out, what will be breakable, if there's something breakable on them, if there's variants. Oh, be careful of the doors, be careful of the hood. Let's go to someone who's here. Here's the mini spies. Here's all the variants. Obviously mini bots don't have any accessories. Let's go to a heavy accessory character. Let's go to Jetfire. Where's Jetfire? Jetfire gets 2 pages. Very good books. Little more pricey, and you have to buy. So like here's volume 1. Volume 1 only goes 84.85. So it ends with like these guys, the Mailway Power Dashers, downshift in the crew, triple changers and stuff. And what's cool in the back is an extra bonus. He'll talk about the comics, he'll talk about the cartoon. So these are really good too. They're just unfortunately out of print, so they're a little harder to track down. But he did all the way up to Beast Wars. And these are very extensive guides. And again, shout out to Doug. He did a fantastic job with these. It's just, I don't suggest them just because I'd be suggesting something and then you're like, wait a minute, like volume 5 is 50 bucks. So it's like, that's where it gets a little more tough. But these are great too. These are really good also. I just wish it was all in one. And, it is what it is, unfortunately, sometimes. But great books. Great books. Again, Doug, you get all your flowers, man. You did a fantastic job. You know, good old Doug Dillon. Staple of the fandom that isn't active anymore, unfortunately. He's out there, but he's just not as active as he used to be. So so hopefully again, yeah, like El Kevo said, yeah, there's probably PDFs out there, But if you want to own it, I mean, if you physically want to have a book, like this is a tougher one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everything that I listed just now, there's PDFs out there. People have scanned and put everything out there. But at the same time, we have the internet. There's great websites too. You know, Transformer Land. What's the other one? TFU.info. There's a lot of really good websites if you need to like, oh, I need to know how many parts and pieces and fists come with, grapple and stuff. So another great one. Again, this is multiple chapters, so you have to track them all down. It's not just one book, unfortunately. But what's cool about him is he did Beast Wars. So like if you're like there's so many G1 guidebooks, there's very few Beast Wars guidebooks, so that's one of the few that exist. No matter the cost, Craft Collects. I feel you there. I feel you there. If I could only show you the wall. It's just the problem is the camera, like I don't want to mess up with the camera, but like it's a wall, like literally a wall of books. Everything. That's why I have to like lean over and go, ooh. Like I have like this one here. Transformers and Philosophy. Yeah. Like I have a lot of weird books. And you can even like if you look in the reflection, you can see all the books on the bookshelf. But yeah, Transformers and Philosophy. Like I have all kinds of wackiness that I buy. If it's a Transformer book, I go out of my way to pick it up just because you never know, it might have some cool stuff. And I love the Japanese books specifically because they always do good compilations of things. Uh, let's see. What's up, Young? What's up? What's up? How you doing? How was your trip in China? It is what it is. Proto Man 2025. More to meets the mind. Did you see about the 3 leaked sports crossovers? I saw the football one, which they claim that they're going to be doing all the teams of the NFL. Which I mean, that's wild if they do that. I didn't hear about the other sports crossovers, unless I forgot something. Might have to refresh my memory on that. But I know that the NFL and Hasbro have had a good relationship over the past 10 years or so. A while back, they did the Megatron crossover with the shoes with Nike. And then they did the sports label stuff with Nike again, or Nike, depending how you want to pronounce it. And they did the hats. They did a whole bunch of different stuff with sports label. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do more of that. Young says, "Ooh, the trip was busy but fruitful. Let's catch end of February with the boys. Oh, we'll do something. Don't worry, man. For sure. For sure. Assuming Young that I'm even in the country, I might end up going to Japan for you know what. New listing leaks a few hours ago. Oh, okay. Well, I'll definitely look at it and reconfirm with certain individuals to make sure they're legitimate. A lot of times when you see there's certain listings that leak out, I sometimes don't report them right away because there is sometimes fake stuff that gets put out there. The player named Megatron with the deluxe bomber. Yep, I got that one. Purple repaint that came with the Nike shoes and the little football accessory. Roman Schilling, are there guidebooks for Unicron Trilogy? The closest we have to Unicron Trilogy guidebooks is Japan on their side will once in a while. Which one should I show you guys? Once in a while they'll do like a year end book. I'm trying to see which one I could show as an example. One moment. So like they'll do like these collection books. This one here, right? And they do one every year and they don't really like they're not really comprehensive, but they'll be like, okay, 2007. So here's the movie toys, right? Look, there's that vanilla bumblebee that we all were killing each other for until we weren't. Oh, there's Aaron's, protoform and this and that, and then da da da. And then look at that Voyager Optimus, that first one we got, and so on and so forth. And Final Battle Jazz and Toe Line and then like you go in and because it's 2007, obviously, then what do you fall into next? And after movie stuff, What else came out in 2007? Kiss Playa. They end up with a bunch of Kiss Play stuff. So you have the Kiss Play stuff is in here, and then you have Masterpiece stuff. Everything that came out. So they would do these like year-end books, and they still do these all the time. Look, we were just mentioning Sports Label. The Sports Label's in here. Let's go to the Sports Label stuff. You know, so they'll have like stuff like this. So obviously during Unicron trilogy, when Micron Legend, aka Armada, when Superlink, aka Energon, and when Galaxy Force, aka Cybertron, when those ended, they did similar books for their corresponding years. 2003, 2005, and 2006-ish going into 7. This is the 7 for the movie stuff. But I'm trying to see if they have any. See, like here, you have some tail end Cybertron stuff, Galaxy Force stuff in this book, but this is mostly focusing on movie. Mostly movie, because movie was the big thing in 2007 for obvious reasons. Look, even Softimus Prime is in here. Let's pull this up for a sec. Good old Softimus Prime and Slumblebee. You know? So there's a lot of those too. You know, again, this one here, it's Transformers Collection 2007. Then they did Transformers Collection 2008, 2009, 2010, 2012. So in these ones, again, they're all done by MediaWorks, the same companies that do a lot of the other books I showed you. And they're out there. Again, ignore this. This is just the Obi. That's not how the covers work. Anyone who collects Japanese books, that's the cross promotional way that they do things. You know, so Slumblebee. But yeah, so that's another one. You know, and these ones again, they're not as comprehensive. Like this isn't every movie toy. It's just like, hey, here's this and that. Like I don't even think the fast action battlers are in here. Let me just double check quickly. No, see, they didn't put the fast action battlers. They put some. Oh, there goes the water bottle. They put some of the real gear stuff, but not all of them. Just like select ones that are like, oh, this one's a camera. That's kind of cool. You know? Yeah, they didn't put everything. They put some of, here, they put some of the fast action battlers. They put the the Frenzy because that was probably like the best Frenzy figure at the time. So they included that one. But yeah, they didn't put everything. It is, they try to put what they can. They try to put what they can. These are a lot more smaller. This was only 2,800 yen. So like with exchange today, this was like a $20 book back then. So, which is still pretty awesome. So there's a few of those. El Kevo, you'd buy a Zamboni Transformer. Was a lifelong hockey fan and living in the best hockey city in the world. I would buy a Zamboni Transformer too. Yeah, let me just put that back down there. Got taking all these books out of it here. But yeah, that's what I say. Tom Laney, hey, it could be a project for Mr. Archer. He would be the one who would do it proper. What are we talking about? Are we talking about Zamboni Transformer? I've never heard Aaron talk about hockey in his life. Talks about football, talks about baseball, even though he doesn't really watch baseball. Never heard him talk about the old ice hockey. But yeah, how much time we got left? Oh, we still got time. We still got 20 minutes or so. But yeah, to me, there's a lot of good books out there. So check them out, you know. Oh, to make a Unicron source book. Well, you know what the problem is that like in Japan, printing is so much cheaper over there. Like you have no idea. You go to Wonder Festival and there is just hundreds of people printing their own mangas, printing their own stuff. It is so cheap to self-publish out there. Now, if it's cheap for individuals and indies to self-publish, imagine how cheap it is for big companies. So there's a lot more guidebooks and stuff like I have tons of like Japanese like original books from fans and stuff like that. Whole bunch. I mean, one day we're gonna do a video and we're gonna show a whole bunch of them because goodness, I got so many. Like I don't even know what this one is. It's just Girls Alliance. You know? It's just sure. Like it's not even like hentai. It's like Hound and he's with yeah. I think I got this for like $1 from Azusa's table. You know? It's like Kiss Play, but not see like here's sorry there. It's like what if like Kiss Play had other characters from the continuities? There's like sorry with like a bumblebee. All kinds of wacky stuff. Ah, there's Atari, continuing that Kiss Play stuff. And then we have this one here. This is a famous one, Reprise. This was done by Star A1, I think it was. What was their name? It was Stars 100A or something. Very famous Japanese doshinji creator in the 80s and 90s for Transformers. And he would write original stories trying to make sense of the origin of Primus and the cartoon continuity. So Reprise was this like nurse Autobot character that took care of the Autobots when they were young. So there's like Dion, there's Orion, there's a young Magnus there and everything. And what was cool about him is he would show these designs, but then he would show like, well, if she was a real toy that came out in the 80s, like how her designs would be and like see here, how would it work? And then let me show you like here, if she had a toy, how the toy would work. So like there's so many of these kind of books. See like here, if you want to make the toy, here's how you would do it. There's so many of these that exist, and I have tons and tons of these. And I go out of my way to track them all down whenever I go to like a BotCon, you know? Q Transformers. Remember Q Transformers? These are the voice actor background programs. Look at that for Q Transformers. And then you got, what's this one here? Oh, yeah, I remember this one. So this is Nato-san. This is his little book that he did. Nato-san did a lot of the Transformers animated manga stuff throughout the years. So there's all his art. He's absolutely fantastic. You know, look at that. Look at his hot rod there. Oop. Got a Voltron on the back, obviously, but ooh, look at that. Ooh, that's spicy. You got some VF1S Macross SDF. There it is. Really good stuff. All cool stuff. I have tons and tons of books. It just goes on and on. Here's a Bloomberg report. This is just a magazine that was there. It's a Bloomberg report talking about Hasbro's financial woes at one point. You'd buy an Aaron Archer design, Zamboni? JR Mina, speaking of dragons, I'm still waiting for Cryotech from the Legacy TMN2 Dragon Megatron. I am surprised that still hasn't happened yet, but I think a primary reason why that hasn't happened yet is they just don't have the slot for a leader class to do it. I'm sure it'll happen at some point. Maybe they just want to put some distance from it, give it like a couple years, and then put it out there. El Kevo fan subs just uploaded that series a few weeks ago. Which series? Which series are we talking about? We talking Kiss Play? We talking I don't know, so many. I got so many of these books. Like I wish one day like I'll take the time and scan some of this stuff because a lot of it just isn't out there and it's all like a lot of these are old books that just there is, the authors stopped making money from them a long time ago. So it'd be kind of cool to just put them out there. I have like there's the alternators book is amazing. The Vinyl Tech alternators book. There's so many. Oh, Q Transformers. Oh, they finally translated all of it. Good old Q Transformers. That Dragon Megatron's still available at Target. Well, see, that's the problem. I think they want to like put some distance between it, and then like whatever's the sequel to Legacy, not Legacy, Transformers Age of the Primes, right? Like the sequel to Age of the Primes, they'll put a blue Blue Dragon Megatron in there, and we'll have Cryotech. More Transmetal 2s when? Well, one day. We need Transmetal 1s first before we do Transmetal 2s, in my opinion. I mean, you don't give us a Transmetal Cheetor, a Transmetal 2 Cheetor until you give us a Transmetal 1 Cheetor, and then retool that into a Ravage proper, not like the one that we got before through that Hasbro Pulse exclusive. You need to give us Tarantulas. You need to like Tarantulas. It was pretty good to begin with, but you need to give us you need to give us some of those. Those are some key figures that need to get upgrades. We need to get a Transmetal 1 Megatron that won't break in your hand. That's yeah. No one should ever own a Transmetal 1 Megatron today because they're so fragile. Finding one in minty condition is pretty tough actually, because they all suffer from brown plastic syndrome. So like him, Optimus Primal, do something that has a cooler face and the gun weapons, like I'd love to see those. Gen Selects Cryotech, you could do it that way, but I think they want to create some distance from retail first before we do that. T-Formers 2002. I just got the OG Cryotech, so it'll hold me over for a good while, and it's a great figure. T-Formers 2002, a good supplemental purchase, at least from BotCon lore back in the day, is you need to get Cryo, which is the blue repaint of Rav. I think they called it Rav. I don't think they called it Cryo on the packaging. But Beast Machine's Rav, RAV, which was the bird, but the blue clear repaint. It's supposed to be Cryotech's like pet raven, pretty much, but blue. There's even some art where he has it on his arm. So if you want to get an extra piece to that, get the clear blue repaints. I have it somewhere to display. I want to go get it now, but Takara. See, the Takara Metals Megatron is good, but the only problem with it, it's not 100% show accurate, but at least it's indestructible. That's the one good thing. You cannot break it. That's the one good thing. And the Armada Predacon one is also indestructible using that mold, but it is completely inaccurate. But at least you get some mini cons out of it, which one of those mini cons is named Night Scream, no joke. And I think the other one, what was the name of the other mini con? I know Night Scream was the name of one, and then they gave the other one another weird name. I forget what. I just remember the one was called Night Scream because you got to keep a trademark. Even back then in Armada, got to keep that trademark floating. El Kevo, my OG Transmo Megatron, is still in one piece. I'm nervous every time I touch it. Leave it in robot mode and keep it that way. I broke my original one that I had from back in the day. I bought a second one off of eBay. When it arrived at my house, it was already broken in the box. I didn't even complain. I just accepted the fact that it was going to break in the box. And then I found a third one at a TFCon. It was in robot mode. It was perfect. I bought it, put it in my display. And then I took my broken one. I put it in beast mode because you don't really notice the broken shoulders in beast mode. Put it in beast mode. So I have both modes on display. And then I got the Takara one a few years after that. And everything was good. Oh, Skid Z. We kept the RID trademark alive. Okay, that was the red one, right? That was the red BMW that opened up like this. I love that design. Love those mini cons. Gosh, I need more mini cons and Micromasters. That's what I want more of. Mike Prime, I'm wondering if they have talked about updating Optimal Optimus to go with the Dragon Megatron. Well, I mean, look, Optimal Optimus won the fan vote all those years ago. They gave him that Power of the Primes upgrade, Optimal Optimus. So we got that toy back then in 2016, 2017. And then we got the Dragon Megatron afterwards, like a couple years later. So it's something where you kind of did get both of them within a span of a period of time. They weren't completely accurate to their original forms, but you got some shape or form of them. And then they did that repaint afterwards for Hasbro Pulse, San Diego Comic-Con, Throne of the Primes. Mark Morales, if we were going to get a new Transmetal 1 Optimus, could we also get an Ape Link that won't be a convention exclusive? I sure hope so. When we got Rat Trap, we saw rumors of Pack Rat. So Pack Rat should totally happen, and that's another like, hey, here's a BotCon exclusive figure that we would love to get, done right, and then people would not have to get the original. That'd be great. Get a cheap ape link for everybody, and that's a trademark that now is actively floating through Hasbro. Hint, hint, hint. Actively floating now. So, speaking of fan votes, we have Skybite coming, but we still want the Lugnut. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that one. You know, I think Lugnut is due. I think there's something that has to. I mean, I think it might be a trademark thing. That's why we got Clobber during Cyberverse. So I think it's more of a trademark thing. They just need to get that trademark back because Lugnut is a tough trademark to have because it's a real thing. It's like Autobot Ratchet, Decepticon Lugnut. And Hasbro wants to own stuff. And Clobber, funny enough, even though it was even though Clobber was the trademark used for the female Lugnut in Cyberverse, it was actually the name used for the head for the Titan's Return Grimlock head. It was called Clobber. So that's where that came from, if you want a little history there. I'm always looking at these trademarks for the copyright side of things. El Kevo, hey, yeah, we never got a Lugnut anything. Again, it's trademark silliness. It's what always gets in the way of things. Look at my beloved Hot Rod. Hot Rod for the longest time. If we didn't have trademark problems, Hot Shot wouldn't even exist because they would have just called him Hot Rod. And we would accept that that yellow sports car is G1 Hot Rod in the Unicron trilogy. He would have been called Hot Rod then. And then the domino effect of that was we probably wouldn't have gotten Rodimus and Super Length. It would have been a different character, it would have been Cup or something. Who knows, So you had Hot Shot, you had Rodimus Major, you had Rodimus Minor, you had Rodimus. Oh, it's not Hot Rod? It's not Rodimus Prime? We'll call it Rodimus because they couldn't have that Hot Rod trademark because of these guys. Because they had the Hot Rod trademark since 1994 and they held on to it with an iron grip for the longest time and they would just throw it on stuff. And Mattel, they've been doing that for years. Hey, you like Dino Riders? Remember Dino Riders, that really cool toy line? Why don't you Google Hot Wheels Dino Riders? And you'll see how Mattel is keeping the Dino Riders trademark alive by throwing it on Hot Wheels toys that have nothing to do with that. Oh, you like Attack Pack? Remember that old Attack Pack toy line with the rah, rah, rah mouth? Yeah, we're going to keep that alive on, again, putting it on Hot Wheels toys that have nothing to do with Attack Pack. They do that all the time, my friends. J.R. Mina, what's up? Hey, Proto, I haven't seen you do a deep dive, but what are your thoughts on Takara, Amanda's Machina Rodimus? Have you seen the teaser and transformation video? Yes, I have. I actually have some of the other high-end transformable stuff that they've done in the past. I am interested in it. I just need more information. And it's also something that, like, I don't know. There's not much really to say. Hey, it's a really high end masterpiece, but not masterpiece. Die cast, but not die cast. Lost Light, Hot Rod, Rodimus Prime. Actually, it looks cool. Gonna get it. Just didn't cover it really. It's something when I get it in person, I'll probably talk about it more. Mark Morales, the Omega Supreme trademark is still active too. Yep. I'm hoping for an animated universe Omega Supreme and a repaint. That could be a Lugnut clone, or it could be the Steel Haven. You could do a bunch of repaints of all the other ships, Vector Prime ship, and everything. That'd be cool. And you just deleted your post, but I'll read it anyways. Okay. Um, is that Optimus Overlord pack in the background? Yes, that is the Costco 2-pack from back in the day. Let's move the NFT that I got as a gift. Transformers Slag podcast useless NFT was gifted to me. Yes, there's an NFT of us, I guess, apparently. Sure. I just put it in the background just because it's the podcast. Yeah, that's the old one. I bought that many years ago, brand new from Costco. Um, I like the Overlord because it's yellow and garish. I don't like that they didn't do anything unique with the Minicon. He's still a chrome spark plug. I would have liked it if they did a unique color for him at least like red chrome or something. And the Optimus is okay, I guess. But that's a wacky set. He's not in there. He's in the display in the corner combined. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Oh, you can't, unfortunately. You can barely see him. Oh no, I knocked over Kaneko Man. But yeah, he's in there somewhere. He's all the way in the corner. But yeah, I just keep it just because it's a nice. It's a huge box. Anyway, it's a big leader box with 2 liters. So nice little box to perch up everybody there. Where we at? Where we at? Proto, what is for dinner? So again, went to the Asian supermarket, picked up a bunch of stuff, and oddly enough, even though we went to the Asian supermarket, we're going to be having steaks tonight. We're going to be having steaks. We're going to have bok choy, which we got at the Asian supermarket. Bok choy, rice, steaks, and then we're probably just going to, have some kind of dessert. We bought a McCain Deep and Delicious cake. Maybe we'll have something like that, you know. But we're going to have steak tonight. Need to have some good heavy protein once in a while. Um, AI Dragon, is Transformers decline? I assume you mean is Transformers in a decline? Right now it's, if I had to compare it to past eras, um, it's like I feel Transformers right now is in its Beast Machines phase, which is it's not at its lowest, but it's kind of like in between a high, you know? Its lowest times were during, the tail end of G2 and even before G2. Those were rough times. The roughest times for Transformers were 1992, which was they had practically zero product. There was exactly 7 figures that were released. They were all released in the UK. There was only a couple of manga pages. Those were released in Japan. There was no cartoon. And there was, I think, like a couple of UK comic books that got released. That was 1992. 93 was when G2 made its big push. By the time we got to 95, it was rough times again, and then Beast Wars came out and fixed everything. But the point is, don't let the title of our video fool you, by the way. Make Love, Not Beast Wars. Beast Wars is the greatest Transformers series ever made. Save Transformers, did so much for the brand. But I think it's right now we're in a Beast Machines era where you had the high of Beast Wars, and then Beast Machines came out and people were excited, but not really many people engaged with it, or people didn't like what they saw in terms of designs or storytelling. So we're kind of in this like phase like this. But we're not in a bad place right now. I've seen the lows. I've lived in those lows. I was there from I want to say I was there from the beginning. I was born during that beginning. I was born in 83, but I didn't really start engaging with the brand until 86. But I was there 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. I was buying Micromasters in the 90s. I was buying G2 toys during G2. I was buying Beast Wars toys when Beast Wars was out. So I was always engaging with the brand. And I saw those ups and downs and those ups and downs and those ups and downs. And we're not in a bad place right now. We're just in that beast. We're in this like confused era right now where it's like, we had a really good movie, but that movie didn't pop off. Hmm, you know, it's kind of like, 86, 87. 86 movie was awesome, but it didn't pop off, and season 3 didn't work out for us. And now it's 1987 and Ninja Turtles is coming out and taking over the world. Uh we're in a weird place right now. So that's kind of it. But I don't think it's Transformers' problem. I think all kind of pop culture brands right now are kind of just going through a restructuring. Look at the Marvel movies. They're kind of just trying to find their place right now because after a bunch of duds. Look at the Star Wars movies. They're trying to kind of find their place right now with a couple of dud series, not so much the movies, but series and stuff. I think all the big pop culture brands right now are going through restructuring while like video games are still kind of marching forward. Mario's are still good, doing good. All the big PlayStation, Xbox brands are still moving forward. So I think that's more or less, people are putting their eyeballs in another place right now, but they'll be back. Transformers is a very important brand for Hasbro, and they will never let it die. And they will always just keep reinventing it and redoing new stuff if they have to. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Geror 45, excuse me. Toy wise, I'm super excited for what's coming this year. Hope there's more media to push Transformers forward. I hope so too. I always say media is very important to the success of the brand. All the years where Transformers was at its weakest, there was no media. All the years where Transformers was at its most powerful, it was primarily because of the media. I just said just now, Beast Wars is one of my favorite Transformer series, if not the greatest Transformer series ever made. It is 100% because it had a CG show that was eye-catching and dynamic for its time, you know, that got people's attention. You know, you can't say that we didn't have a renaissance in 2007 if it wasn't for a Michael Bay movie, you know? So the brand is always pushed forward by its media. Toys could be amazing. See Energon. But if the media isn't amazing, sometimes it's remembered in a different way. You know, you could have a whole bunch of lackluster movie toys, but if the media is really good, people will still like it. They'll find a way to enjoy those pieces of the media with those toys. Tom Laney, why not bring back Beast Wars show? Looks awesome with today's technology, cool visuals. Well, they tried. It was called Kingdom, and Kingdom was the lowest rated of the 3 Netflix series. Now, I'm not blaming Beast Wars for that. I'm just saying from Hasbro's perspective, we did Siege. Now, granted, Netflix isn't sometimes transparent about their numbers, but when they did Siege, Siege was trending, so that means it was doing very well. When they did Earthrise, it didn't trend. When they did Kingdom, well, they didn't even want to renew the contract. Actions speak louder than words, says Mister over here. Ugh. Actions speak louder than words. So let's just say Kingdom probably didn't do as well as we had hoped. And Hasbro just looks at it as, oh, I guess people didn't want Gorilla Cheetah Beast. Well, at least we have that Rise of the Beast movie, right? Oh, that broke even. So, and this is me who, again, sings the Beast Wars praises. Twins Corner, you know about the Kang Toys Dinobot Proto. Their swoop looks phenomenal. Yeah, I saw some of those. I always look at third party. I always pay attention to it. I just don't know the names, but I know what you're talking about. The prototypes were shown recently. They always look cool, but not paying that unless they want to send it to me for free, but that's about it. Tom Laney, so maybe I missed something. It's almost been 2 years now since the last HasLab Transformer. It's not that it's been 2 years, it's that's the first time that we had a HasLab item Transformers come out and it didn't come out like the following year. Like it's like there actually is a little bit of a delay on Omega Prime. I don't know if it's because we technically got 2 characters in one. Unicron was one character. Star Saber was one character. I guess you could count with the Victory Leo, you know. And then you got Deathsaurus, and now you got Blue Bolts, you got the Optimus and the Ultra Magnus, God Magnus, as I'll always call him. So maybe there's a delay in designing those or something, even though there shouldn't be a delay because they're practically the same like the originals, just with slightly more articulation. You know, I liked Rise of the Beast too. Don't get me wrong, but yep, you have to understand something, guys. Let me just tell you something. Just because I point the facts out of something being not successful does not mean that I don't like it. I know that you guys live in a world where when people hate on stuff, it's also associated with like negativity, but I will always state the facts, but I also might like something, you know? Earthspark is doing terrible. I don't hate the show, but Earthspark is doing terrible. Toys are selling terribly. People are not watching it. Nobody cares. I still like the show. I'm just saying, it's just how it is. I love Beast Wars. Kingdom didn't do well. you know, you gotta be realistic because then people won't take you seriously if you're speaking out of one side and then having the other. You know, can't let your bias get in the way of the truth. James Hopkins, it will be the first HasLab I could go in on due to the tax return season. Now watch it be something I won't want. Oh, good. I hope not. Well, then you save the money for next time, huh? You invest it. Then in a year later, you could come back. Tom Laney, to pay what we want, to pay what we pay, then we wait for that long. Yeah, well, that goes back to what I said about investing. They take your money, millions of dollars, and it's not like they use that money to then make the item. They take that money and then they throw it into investments, and then they sit on that and make good money. The reality of it. That's why, me personally, HasLab should be for big, bombastic, crazy items, like what they do with Star Wars. I'm not a fan of what HasLab does with Transformers. Unicron, yes, give me more of that. But, and I stand by this, I don't think Unicron did as well as we think. And I think that scared them, and they don't want to do big things like that anymore. Everything else they're doing, and I stand by it, I've taken flack for it, I don't care. I don't think most of the HasLab items we get for Transformers should be HasLab items. I think they could be retail items. I get it. There's no space for that Commander or that Titan at the moment, but I just feel they don't need to have the HasLab tax of being $50 to $25 more than what they are with a big fancy box and everything. So I think if HasLabs are going to continue being that price, but still something that could be cheaper, then stop doing that. It's a waste of everyone's money. But that's just my take. T-Formers 2002. I love that they're going to release a HasLab and a payment will be coming out right around LA's classic, right around LA classic Hasbro. Well, again, I don't think they plan on that. I think that's just more how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. The wallet always suffers. Well, look, let's be real. The reason why the Unicron suffered, it's not directly the reason for it, but it definitely was a reason for the extension. If you read up HasLab Unicron's history, TFCon Toronto happened, and then HasLab Unicron dropped literally on the Monday after TF. So imagine all these people went to TFCon, they flew out, they got hotels, they went to the deal room, they bought toys, they bought exclusives. They flew back home Monday, and while they're in the air, HasLab Unicron was revealed and dropped. And then because so many people had all these big credit card bills they had to fulfill, a lot of people didn't engage with it. And then Hasbro actually extended the deadline. And you can look this up, it's out there. They extended the deadline because a lot of people didn't engage with that Unicron. And that had a lot to do with also, I think it's scaring it, you know, scaring people away. But yeah, Tom Laney, Protoman, thanks for a great stream as always. Till next time, enjoy the weekend. And Tom just pointed out, so you could blame Tom, that we are done. I didn't realize we were at the 2 hour mark. Thank you, Tom. We are done today. So once again, thank you everyone for the live stream. Thank you for all tuning in and talking Transformers with me. Congratulations to the 50 new YouTube members. Thanks to Mr. Tanky for hooking everyone up. Thank you for all the super chats that we got today from great people like, let me just try to see all of them here. Airy Nut and Princeton Phalanx 59. Thank you for the super chats. Always appreciate the super chats from you great people. You know, and again, if you want to continue supporting the podcast, Patreon is the way to go. Click that Patreon link down in the description and get access to the Discord. We hang out there, we talk. You know, you get access to our future exclusives when we do our own future exclusives. You get those for free if you've been a patron for more than 2 or 3 months. You know, all kinds of benefits being part of the Patreon, and it helps support the podcast if that matters to you. But yeah, take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Beautiful Saturday. Enjoy it with the friends, the families, the loved ones, your best buddies, all the people that care about you. Go play a board game. Go play a video game. Go watch a good show. And go rock out with the robots in disguise. I'm out of here. Take care. And as always, roll out.